Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Let's just dig into this, because at this point in the game, a lot of these dumbass casual fans have just pissed me off with this idiocy that they've been saying about Mikey Garcia. Now, I've been getting a lot of stuff on social media saying Mikey's ducking Errol Spence. I don't watch any other boxing media, especially YouTube versions, because all the big channels and all the channels around are so biased and so leaning to one side or the other that it's hard to get an honest perspective from anyone that's going to be direct and honest about a situation. So I'm just going to keep it all the way 100% real with you. I'm not going to entertain any biased bullshit, and I'm not going to fanboy for any fighter. If Mikey Garcia was ducking Errol Spence Jr., I would call it how it is, and I would say why he is. He's not ducking Errol Spence fucking Jr. Mikey Garcia is not ducking anyone. Mikey Garcia is willing to fight anyone from 135 to 147 if it makes fucking sense. One of the things that everyone keeps saying about Mikey Garcia is that he ducked Yorkis Gamboa. And this is what I keep getting a lot of messages in regards to that. Let me just explain that. Mikey Garcia had a huge falling out with his promoter, Bob Arum. And so basically, part of that problem was he was not willing to make the fights Mikey made. That's why he left Top Rank. Then the next excuse people come with was saying, well, how come Mikey's not calling out Terrence Crawford instead of Errol Spence? Duh, idiot. We've been saying this for day one. Mikey Garcia sees a ton of flaws in Errol fucking Spence that he does not see in Terrence Crawford. So wouldn't it make sense to exploit the flaws you see in Errol Spence Jr., such as lack of head movement, lack of foot speed? That's what you see in Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. has been hurt a few times against a Kell Brook, rocked a few times. Looks like he was losing that fight until Kell Brook developed an injury he sustained from a prior fight against Triple G. Errol Spence doesn't walk around breaking eye sockets. Who else eye socket did he fucking break aside from Kell Brook? I'll wait. That's what I fucking thought. Fucking casual fans keep reciting this bullshit narrative. Mikey Garcia is not ducking Errol Spence Jr. He's not clout chasing. He's not doing any of that shit. He wants all the smoke with Errol Spence Jr. because he sees Errol Spence Jr. as an overrated, overhyped, power fucking puncher. This is what Errol Spence Jr. is. So the reason why he's not calling out Terrence Crawford is because it's basically twofold. One, he sees Errol Spence Jr.'s flaws and know that he's easily beatable. And two, he's with Top fucking Rank. You know the disdain that Mikey Garcia has for Top Rank? You know the hesitancy he has for Top Rank? That makes no sense. Another thing is, Mikey Garcia was not planning to move up to 147, but now he's daring to be great. And he also said, you know what? Let's do it. These guys don't fight at the same fucking weight division. Now, when Mikey Garcia moved up to fight Adrian Broner, that was a one-off type of fight to get his name, to grow his name and his brand much bigger, since Adrian Broner has a huge audience and following. That made sense. That made sense. What the fuck are you talking about? Everybody keeps saying that everyone's scared of Errol Spence. Then why would I call out Terrence Crawford when Errol Spence is the one that's getting all the publicity, all the fame? He's with the same promoter as Mikey Garcia. Wouldn't that be the fight to call out, to try to make, to try to get done? Wouldn't that fucking make sense, you idiot? This is the problem with these dumbass casual fans, because they don't fucking listen. They don't fucking pay attention to everything, and they believe everything that they're told by this fake boxing media. People are being misled. But let me just clear it all up. And so share this fucking video if you really want to know the truth, if you want to spread the truth, because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Mikey Garcia is not ducking Errol Spence Jr. And I'm going to take you back to a quote from someone such as a Steven Espinoza. Now, this was back in, I believe, August. And now this is a quote, direct quote from Steven Espinoza. He basically said it's an interesting dilemma, because once you start getting close to the holidays, you start to get nervous with people's attention, not to mention their wallets, whether that money and attention is being diverted for the holidays. This is in regards to a Mikey Garcia Errol Spence fight at the end of this year, 2018. He also stated, as it stands now, it looks like any pay-per-view that would be done in December would be third of 3 and sandwiched after Fury Wilder and before the holidays is not the most advantageous at that point. Basically, this is another quote. So does that mean early 2019 for Garcia Spence? I'm not sure yet. Both Errol and Mikey really want to get a fight before the end of the year, but I also realize that they're both smart enough to realize you don't force something just on a desire to go at a certain point on the calendar. On pay-per-view, you have to do it when the market is right. Steven Espinoza. Listen, you dumbass casual fans. So basically, he said that they both want the fight. He basically said, this is the guy that's overseeing all this shit. He's the one that's making sure the fight fits on the schedule, the fight gets done. He basically says that Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. both want the fight. It makes no sense to do another pay-per-view at the end of this year when you're already doing Fury Wilder. Listen, you dummies. So Steven Espinoza says it makes no sense to do a fight after Fury Wilder because why? Because it's already one pay-per-view. It's in the last quarter, but they both want to get a fight in before the end of the year. Wouldn't it make sense that they take on a mandatory challenger or an opponent or some lesser opponent? Because headlining a pay-per-view when there's already being a pay-per-view in December plus Canelo's coming back. And we're assuming that Canelo's pay-per-view. So then you have 2 pay-per-views. You have Wilder Fury. Then you have Canelo fielding. And then so that's 2 pay-per-views in December alone. Where in the fuck are you going to put Errol Spence Jr. and Mikey Garcia? Why would you want to kill that fight on the vine when it's clearly a pay-per-view fight? Why would you put that on anybody's undercard when that's a main event on itself? The whole purpose of that fight is to get both of these guys much needed exposures, to take these guys to another level, to a superstar level. Let's tell the truth. It looks like these guys that are Errol Spence fans are just fanboys who are looking for any reason to doubt or basically shit on anyone else, especially a Mikey Garcia, to promote a narrative of basically saying that Mikey Garcia is ducking Errol Spence. Why? Because they want to build up Errol Spence as the biggest, baddest motherfucker that ever walked 147 pounds. And that simply is not true. Errol Spence is unproven. He is not proven. And so Errol Spence Jr. has beaten no one to prove that he is the fucking best. And the biggest point that I'm going to raise with that is that he's ducking Terrence fucking Crawford, a man that's in his same weight division, a man that's been calling him the fuck out all year, and he turns around and says, oh, we're on 2 different sides of the street. We're on 2 different sides of the street. Now, Mikey Garcia has a history with Bob Arum. Errol Spence Jr. doesn't. Al Heyman has proven that he can make fights with Bob Arum. Why? Because he's given many fighters to fight Terrence Crawford. Al Heyman has done that many times. Not only that, they've made the biggest fight that can be made with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. There's no fucking reason why Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, when they both have belts, can't fucking meet. Because Errol Spence Jr. is not ready for that task. He's not ready for that challenge. And he's clearly ducking the man because he wants to fight guys he feels he'll be able to beat easier. Errol Spence Jr. has a limited skill set, and that's the whole reason Mikey Garcia wants to fight him, to exploit that limited fucking skill set. He's a glorified, hyped power puncher. Let's just call this shit for what it is. I'm not going to pull any punches with you guys. I'm not going to create any bias. I'm not a fanboy of anybody. So I just try to call this shit down the line. So when Steven Espinoza said the fight could be pushed back to 2019, then what the fuck's wrong with these people? All talking about Mikey Garcia is automatically ducking Errol Spence Jr. And I don't know if you guys know this is that Mikey Garcia has basically recently done an interview with Fight Hype where he said he's still trying to work out other things to get a bigger fight. But as of right now, the Richard Comey fight is what's on the table. But he has to retain that belt. Why? Because that makes any fight that he has after that a bigger fucking fight. That's saying that he's walking in against Errol Spence Jr., but he's losing belts. That makes no sense. That shortens the opportunity for a Vasyl Lomachenko fight, but he's losing belts. That makes no sense. He's trying to unify with Lomachenko. He's trying to get a bigger name with Errol Spence, and you need your belts for these situations. You need to fight your mandatory. But not only that, he's been trying to get Richard Comey to get other things done. That's why there's no date or venue set as of yet, because he's still in negotiations to try to push this guy back, to try to bring Errol Spence to the forefront. But it doesn't make sense to do it in December. Why? because that's too soon. You have too many pay-per-views lined up. The money doesn't make sense. Now, that doesn't mean he's not considering fighting Errol Spence Jr. in January or February, because that's why that fight, the date and venue have not been set, because he's still trying to push Richard Comey back. Richard Comey doesn't want to go back because he sees Mikey Garcia as his ticket to fame. Nobody knows who the fuck he is, but if he fights Mikey Garcia, he could be a household name if he gets a win, if he puts up a great fight, or anything like that. So could you blame him? So you've heard Mikey Garcia basically come out and say, look, we want the fight, we're trying to make the fight, but right now I haven't even finalized shit with Richard Comey because I'm still trying to see what avenues we can go to get this shit done. That's what he's saying. He's saying, I'll take the fight if I have no other choice. That's why we have to agree to terms in a contract. That's what he's saying. Steven Espinoza backdoors it months ago and basically saying, looking at Fury Wilder, since that pretty much set up everything with Showtime and their limited budget, basically saying that, look, we have to do this fight pay-per-view, and since we have to do a pay-per-view, that pushes the Mikey Spence back. That's essentially what he's fucking saying. Both of these guys want to fight for the end of the year, so that means more than likely give Errol Spence his mandatory or Dennis Ugas, and give Mikey Garcia Richard Comey. And if you don't want to give these guys mandatories and have them fight at the end of the year, then set it up for end of January, early February, and have them fight their mega fight on pay-per-view. That way it's not sitting behind Canelo, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder. You don't put 3 pay-per-views in 1 month. That would be idiocy, especially at the end of the year when you have Christmas, the holidays. That makes no sense. Pay attention, people. This is why we don't listen to fake boxing news. This is why we don't listen to biased reporters. This is why we don't listen to casual ass fans. We keep it 100% honest and real, and we tell this shit like it is. B100, Mikey Garcia is not ducking Errol Spence Jr. It's clear that Errol Spence Jr. is on the other side of the street and clearly ducking Terrence Bud fucking Crawford. When he steps in the ring and fight Terrence Crawford, I would love to fucking see that. I would love to fucking see that. You know why? Because he won't even say shit to Terrence Crawford. He don't want to mention Crawford's name. He's terrified of Terrence Crawford. But you got all these people coming at me talking all this hot shit. And I'm like, well, why don't you mention Terrence Crawford? You go to a press conference drunk and basically talk shit about how you're not going to fight Terrence Crawford, and all the Spence fanboys sit there and applaud. That's retarded. Wouldn't you come back and say, you know what, Errol Spence Jr., needs to fight Terrence Crawford. That fight needs to happen and it doesn't need to wait. Terrence Crawford has recently done an interview last week where he's basically stating that I'm ready to fight Errol Spence early 2019. Let's get this shit done. Errol Spence Jr. keeps whining about Sean Porter might not want to fight me. Fight fucking Bud Crawford, the biggest fight to be made in your division, you fucking pussy. This is what I'm saying. Who's ducking who? Who's the real threat? Let's be honest. Mikey Garcia ducks no smoke. IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely fucking subscribe.